Well, it's a Monday morning, 9:15, and I am leaving 𝐓𝐸. I'm heading to Boquete. This time of year, we have the beautiful guayacán trees. They can be yellow and pink. And I arrived in Boquete where it was windy. Okay, Sam, so now you're going to tell us about a condo in Volcancito.
Yes. So this condo is in a popular development called Boquete Valley of Flowers. It has been around for about 12 years. What makes it popular is that it is walking distance to town, but outside of town where you have the privacy. It is also a well-constructed development because of the HOA. The HOA is phenomenal because it's run on a website. You can go into it, you can look at the finances, you can go in and put a complaint if there's something that you feel needs to be repaired. The HOA fees are $135 a month. That covers the water, the garbage, the maintenance. It has also got water tanks, which is great within the property. It has a facial recognition as you enter the property, which makes it another modern feature in Boquete. One other thing nice about it is that it is very spacious. So these condos are built definitely American style in terms of the bedrooms, the bathrooms. They all are 2-bedroom, 2 bathrooms. The particular one that is for sale is 179,775. One thing nice about it is that the privacy, once you enter the development, most of the people living there are expats. So it's a very quiet, peaceful environment. You have your privacy, you have your lock up and go. You have the option also of long-term rentals. So if you decide to do it as an investment, I manage 2 properties in there, and it's a great investment opportunity. If you're not ready to move yet, but you want to invest, that's a good option to look at. The other thing that makes it unique, and something I maybe want to touch on also outside of this, is that a lot of these developments now in Boquete have moved away from Airbnb. So this is not, there's no Airbnb allowed in it, which gives it a more sense of safety, the noise factor, so you know who's staying in the development. It's just not people coming in and out where they shouldn't. So that definitely plays a positive part in either staying there if you're a single woman and you want to have that sense of safety, or you want to have something that's a lock up and go. It's a great investment to look at.
Yeah, that's a really good point, because I mean, Airbnb has its pluses and minuses, right? And if it's an investor and they might want to invest in a short-term rental opportunity, but to live somewhere, you don't want people coming and going all the time.
No, and because you don't know who those people are.
Yes.
So if it's also for your neighbors. And just having it is a really lovely environment. So it is, like I say, the positive of it, the positive side, is that it's in Volcancito. If you know Boquete at all, you know that Volcancito is a very sought after neighborhood because it's well structured, the weather is nice, it's really close to town. There's a lot of advantage. It's just up the hill from Boquete town.
Very nice. Do people do lease to own or owner financing? What do you see of that in Boquete?
No, there's not such a thing as that. You could maybe do a longer closing. So if you decide, okay, I want to invest in this property, but I only have a payout of 3 to 6 months, some owners will consider that. So you would put down a down payment, and then you would structure that with your lawyers and say, okay, at this X date we are paying this amount, and the last payment will be at this X date. But there's never an rent to own option. That's not something popular because properties are so sought after that it never stays long enough on the market. If you price a property right in Boquete, it sells fairly quickly.
I stayed for 2 nights at the Boquete Garden Inn, and it was such a beautiful stay. The garden is amazing, something my garden aspires to. It was lush and peaceful. The birds chirping were just wonderful. So let's take a tour of my room. This is my beautiful room at the Boquete Garden Inn. I'm on the second floor, close to the reception area. And I have a little sitting area right here. The gardens are beautiful. I just took a walk out to the jacuzzi and I'm planning on getting in. It's warm. It's not a hot jacuzzi. You can tell it's a little bit windy out here still. If it's not too windy in the morning, that will be a perfect spot for tea. And if it's windy, I can just stand right here. I have a microwave, a fridge, a sink, really cool artwork throughout the room. I have a king bed. I think I'm gonna plop myself right in the middle and sleep like a rock. I love the framed molas that are around the room. Some of these look old and really beautiful. Television, which I probably won't even turn on. Nice sized bathroom and shower. The ceiling fan is on. And then they also have a standing fan that I can use if I would like. There is a safe in the room. And on this side, you can hang clothes. There's a dehumidifier and a luggage rack. Here's another one of the molas. A little hard to see with the glare. And I am doing a coffee tour and I would love to get a coffee sack. I just think these are so cool. That's my room. I'm gonna charge my phone battery, my mental battery, and then it's off to dinner tonight. Everyone I talked to said there are so many restaurants open now in Boquete, and of course I could not eat at all of them, but I'll have a video on the restaurants that I went to and an interview with Chris Young, who owns Big Daddy's. In this video, we're going to talk with Samm Ferreira from Inside Panama Real Estate, and we're going to see two different properties that she has listings for. One is a 3-bedroom home with a canyon view on Brisas Boqueteñas, and the other is a 2-bedroom condo in Volcancito. And if you want information on how the MLS system works here in Panama, just jump ahead to about 20 minutes in, because I think it's helpful information to have when you're thinking about buying a property in Panama and understanding how the MLS is different than it is in the US. On this trip to Boquete, I did not do any hikes, but there are so many around, and since then I've seen some pictures of just some really beautiful vistas and waterfalls, and hiking trails. If you have any favorites, leave them in the comments. I'm sure other people who are watching the video would appreciate to know about them, or anything fun that you've discovered to do in Boquete. And maybe when I go back, I'll do it. One thing I've noticed in Panama is even when places say they have a jacuzzi, it isn't what I'm imagining a jacuzzi to be. I imagine a jacuzzi to be hot, hot water and a lot of strong jets. So this was relaxing, but it wasn't really what I would consider a jacuzzi. I would call it a warm pool with some bubbles, which was nice, but I really am craving that hot water jacuzzi. They have so many areas set up in the garden for relaxing. It's very tranquil, and you can hear the river running in the background. It was super windy the first couple of days that I was in Boquete, but once the wind died down and the sun was out and you could feel that warmth, it was really, really relaxing. If you're interested in Boquete, check out my Boquete playlist because I have videos on interviews with people who've moved there, and actually one couple who drove from the United States, interviews with business people, and with Lulu from Lulu's Farm, and she supports a lot of rescue animals. Also chatting with different brokers on rentals and properties for sale in Boquete. This was a nice little pavilion bar that they had set up, and I think they host a little happy hour there for guests in the evening. You can see once the wind died down and the sky was blue, that balcony was a perfect spot to relax. Both of my breakfasts at the Boquete Garden Inn were delicious. It starts off with some fruit, and you get coffee or tea and even fresh juice and the hopeful cat, and a great view of the birds feeding on the fruit from both areas, actually, where you can sit at the restaurant. I've seen a couple of birds in Boquete that I have not seen in 𝐓𝐸. It's fascinating to me how many species of birds that we have, and I never thought I'd be into birds, but you can't help it. What is so amazing about this place?
Thank you for your question. First of all, welcome for to be here at Boquete Garden Inn. And I think one of the best things you can see here is the birds, the nature, and the tranquility. But we were very happy to serve you to the breakfast. You have breakfast included, and this is something that the people really like, and all the environment around and Boquete itself is wonderful.
And how have you managed to keep consistent high rankings from TripAdvisor and other review sites?
It's a good question. I think first of all, you have to love what you do, and we do. Probably we have some things that never are perfect, but most of the time we try to keep all what we have as the same how we promise.
Excellent. Well, I highly recommend the place, and they should come and say hello to you.
Hello for everybody, or welcome for coming to Boquete Garden Inn. You know, we're welcome for you.
We interrupt this regular scheduled programming for an announcement. I think that so many people have swirling questions about becoming an expat and whether or not it's practical for them, whether they can make it a reality, whether this is Panama or not. And I've decided to put together a 90-minute Expat Clarity Session. It's where you'll come away knowing, feeling secure in whether or not expat life is right for you, or if it's better for you just to do a life redesign wherever you are at home. So it starts with a focused questionnaire, not too long, not too intensive, but that way when we have this session, we can jump right into your specific circumstances and not, gathering information. So the 90 minutes is actually spent on the content dealing with your specific life circumstances. There's a link in the description of the video and you can book a session there. I normally like to do the video walkthrough myself. On this one, I just didn't have time, but I did have time to drive through the neighborhood. And I'm using the video footage from their videographer. Credit is given in the video description. Okay, now Sam's going to tell us about this really beautiful 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom home.
Yes, so this home is located in Rica's Volcancito. Rica's Volcancito is a small neighborhood about 15 minutes outside of Boquete town. What makes the neighborhood so unique is that some of the houses, especially this one, is on the canyon. So if you're looking for an amazing view, this is the home for you. It is in a lovely community that is very family orientated or retirement. So it's a very quiet community. It's definitely gained a lot of popularity. So there's not a lot of homes for sale there. This is the only home for sale on the canyon, which makes it quite appealing. Definitely, again, it's got a beautiful view based on it having also a beautiful terrace that you can sit outside and have this view that is breathtaking. It's in a quiet, safe area. The home is really lovely, the outline of the home in terms of where it's located, as well as walking into it. It's got a lovely kitchen. It's got a separate laundry. The 3 bedrooms is a nice appeal because you can use 1 bedroom as an office space. And then also you can close off your terrace. So if you wanted an option of a sunroom, you can close half of it off as a sunroom and the other half you can leave open. A lot of people do that. So if you're looking for a home that you want to create and make your own, that's an option to have in this home.
And what are some of the amenities or features in this home?
So I would say the home itself, what I like about it is the high ceilings. I like it that it has that laundry room because a lot of places don't have that space. So the laundry room could also be used as a storage area. It could be used also as putting some of your groceries in as an extra space. Again, the biggest feature is the 3 bedroom because you will find most homes are either 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Having again that outside terrace is a big plus because if you are someone that enjoys having maybe a jacuzzi or something outside, that could be added to it, where you might not want to have the maintenance of having a swimming pool, but you would still like some water, as in having that jacuzzi space. It would be perfect. The views alone is breathtaking.
Yeah. That would be top on my list, is a jacuzzi. That's my goal for my house in 𝐓𝐴. Thank you so much for showing us this property. And you said it was how far from Boquete?
At least 15-minute drive. So okay. I actually live across the highway from the area, so I'm very familiar. The other thing, another important to note, which I'm sorry I didn't mention, was the climate. So if you're looking for something that is a bit warmer than the mountains, I would say it's between 75 maybe to 85 Fahrenheit in the summer, or I'd say in the non-dry season. That's the climate you'd get.
Very nice. What about the wind? While I've been here, it's been very windy. Are there areas in Boquete that have more wind than others?
No, it would be the protection.
Everyone gets wind, okay.
It would just be the protection of your home. And Rica's means wind, so where you are in Rica's, you're definitely going to get the wind.
Yeah.
But again, in the windy season, we can't get away from it.
Exactly. And, one important thing I've noticed, people often ask, the difference between 𝐓𝐴 and Boquete. People with mold allergies don't do well in 𝐓𝐴. And so here, especially in the breezy areas, for someone who has allergies, that might be a spot that would be more suitable.
Yes, and definitely going in elevation. So Boquete town would be a lot more moisture. And then looking at going further down, especially that area, for sure, if you've got allergies, that would be the perfect in between of Boquete and maybe Portugal or Dolega, because it's not that hot. It's a really nice climate.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing us
pleasure.
this house. I realized there's some follow-up questions that are burning in my mind. So, Sam, tell us a little bit about 𝐓𝐴.
Okay. So to understand the MLS system is you have to be a licensed agent and a licensed real estate company to register with them. They're very strict on the rules and regulations, which is a good for you because there's guidelines that that agency has to follow. And when an MLS is signed, what makes it very different and why they came in and how the popularity of it has grown, I'd say in the last 3 years, is simply that now with MLS, no agent controls the market or controls the sale. So in the past, you would get a lot of agents that might refuse viewings because they want to sell it. They want to list it, they want to sell it. Now with the MLS, the minute you list your property, it goes on to every other agency that is with the MLS. That means any agent can sell the property, and that opens up where if you decide to go with me as an agent, but it is listed with another agency, I can still show it. Or vice versa. Maybe you feel comfortable with another agent, but it's my listing, I show it. So it's more of a shared, open market that allows for less control. I think that opens it up to also looking back. If you come to me and you say, you know what, I really like 𝐓𝐴, but there's a house going for sale, how do I know it's within the price range that I can resell? Because that's when you're looking, as any buyer, you're looking at the resale value. And if that house is on the cap of, say, 𝐓𝐴, I'm just using this as an example, is the cap of 350,000 and this house is 360. If you're looking at selling it in 5 years, realistically, it's just going to stand because you're going to be overcapitalizing on your property. So yes, the MLS is good to go back and look at what sold before, but the negative thing of it is that it's so new to the market that you need an agent like myself that does the groundwork. So if you say to me, I love Valley of the Flowers, tell me what sold in the last year, I would go and I would research it based either on knowing, being in the industry for 6 years, I know what sold there, looking back at what we've sold in the last year, and just giving you a breakdown. That's important to understand because that also helps for people that sell, because a lot of people go on an emotional sale and they believe their house is valued at a amount that maybe is realistic to them, but not in the area. So you have to understand the market, and you have to give that feedback to clients by saying, okay, you like this area, this is the last 3 or 4 homes that's sold in the last 6 months to a year.
And what about independent brokers? Because I'm sure there are a lot of trustworthy independent brokers, and the 𝐓𝐴 fee can be pretty high. Do you see independent brokers here in the Boquete area?
You do. Mostly, to be honest, that is a challenge for them because to find listings, and also it's such a small town, as well as to find people that would trust them, that maybe feels, okay, being on that gives you a sense of trust. Having a reputation with Inside Panama, we've been in the market for over 20 years. We have a trusted, we trusted in our community. I think for me personally, being an agent that started off with rentals, I built the trust with my clients and automatically moved over to sales because my tenants as well as my clients wanted me to sell for them. So I would say yes, they are, but not as popular as those agents that are around for the years we've been around, because that's where you want to go. You want to base your trust on reputation, knowing that whoever you're dealing with is trusted and they have some sort of backing on that trust.
And what about how much for sale by owner do you see in this area?
By sale by owner, not too often. You do get it, but then again, that also creates a bit of a gray area on who you. With having a broker, we look at it as a business transaction. It's not an emotional connection to a home. So that sometimes can be a challenge because you might find that the owner might enforce you to, I don't know, perhaps use their lawyer, or it might be in where they are not negotiable, or they make promises to you by saying they will leave certain things in the home and that's not noted down, and you end up there's so much involved in it. And it's not, this is where it's quite interesting for me. You're not getting a better sale by going straight to the owner. So whenever we, like you would do when you sell your home, you would know what you want to sell it for, and that's what we sell it for. We aren't adding on extras. We aren't putting extra money into it because we're now wanting the money out. Any person that sold property like you and I have,
I haven't sold
I haven't.
property.
Well,
No.
well, I mean, in terms of owning a property and selling it.
Yeah.
So you understand that 5% commission is already in place. You understand that's what you have to pay out.
Right.
You understand what you need to sell it in order to feel comfortable, and also in order to make your money. So it's not to say agents lift up the pricing. We don't do that. We sell it based on what we have a long discussion with the owners, and we sell it based on what is comfortable and what's in the market value. Homes don't sell if you overprice.
Yep. Yeah.
So that wouldn't benefit us.
Yeah. And what are you kind of seeing on average of days on the market in general? I know the area is so dispersed and varied, but what are you kind of seeing on, on that?
Normally, it's so interesting because houses can sell within 24 hours of being listed. Houses can sell within a week or two. On average, I would say a house sells normally within the 6 months. If it doesn't, then it's obviously based on the price, maybe the location. Maybe it's a unique home that would be very individually, it would be a unique home that maybe a unique buyer would find. So I would say on average 6 months or less home sell.
Okay. How different is that from 6 years ago?
Oh, very different.
Really?
For sure. Because again, I bring COVID into it. COVID played such a huge part in how people saw their lives and how they saw Boquete, where you could work online, where before you felt you needed to be in the office. And I also think Boquete has grown in the last 6 years more so than I can even articulate. It's just like everything from the seeing the shops, the stores, having things in the stores. Before that wasn't there. Having just seen how many restaurants have opened, how many people. I'll bring Canadians into it. How many Canadians have now, before were snowbirds, and suddenly no, they're investing. They are now more wanting to stay here permanently. So that's changed a lot. A lot of nomads have come in, a young generation's coming in and being in their 20s or early 30s and seeing, well, you know what, we can live here and we can make a life here and still work online.
So in some areas, the internet is more stable and reliable than others, maybe?
For sure, yes. The internet, unless you're higher up in the mountains, that's a problem. But I've never had a problem with the internet. Massmobile and Tigo have been good. You'll have your dips, but they'll be so quick that you would blink and it would be done.
Yeah. Is there fiber optic in
fiber
the area?
optic, yes, there is. In my area where I stay, there is. Depends. If you're just going to watch movies or you're just going to use it for day-to-day, Starlink's perfect. But if you need that high-speed fiber, then obviously closer to town or on the outskirts of town, they offer that.
Nice. I really, really appreciate your expertise, and I think my subscribers do too. I'll put your contact information, and really just thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for allowing me this opportunity.
Check out my books on Amazon, and I hope you enjoyed the video today. Where do you find your peace? Go get some of that. It's so important. I'll see you next week.